know, this is a story that I think everyone can relate to. It's not real popular here in the United States, and for what reasons I've never been able to really divine. This is the kind of show that we really do like. It's really a classic British musical, which tend to go over very well here. But being it's a story of twins separated at birth and how their lives then continue to intersect for the rest of their lives, I think is very compelling in the sense that here's a situation where you have these two twins who are separated. One grows up with a very poor family, one grows up with a very wealthy family. There's always an interest, I think, to see what effect nurture has versus nature. It's one of the themes that we're dealing with. You know, what effect class has on essentially two people that are genetically identical. And what effect it can have on each of them. And the idea that it doesn't matter really what class you belong to. You know, everybody has new problems. Everybody has issues and challenges and things that they have to overcome in their lives. And really what you're looking at here is a story of two very desperate mothers. You have the mother of the twins who is in desperate financial circumstances. Her husband's abandoned her. She has all these kids, and now she's pregnant with twins. And on the other side, you have this orphan mother who's desperate to be a mother and just can't have children. And this horrible solution that they come up with, which is just, in the vein of comedic movies like Parent Trap. It's very funny, twins separated at birth, but it truly is a tragic decision to make. And that's how this play kicks off. And one of the interesting things about this play is that it never pulls any punches from you. They tell you right from the beginning exactly what's going to happen to these boys, and then you spend the next 2.5 hours looking at what brought us to the end that you've already been told. But along the way, you truly come to care about these people, these mothers, these two sons, the girl that loves them both. They're so well drawn as characters and people, and you feel such affection for them all that it compounds the tragedy at the end of the play. Because you do engage with this, and the whole time you're sitting there going, God, I hope beyond hope that this is going to work out. Maybe it is just a tease. Maybe everything will end happily, but it's not to be. Things don't always end happily. We chose this play well before the summer riots in London and the rest of England. Last year, and we had chosen the play, and we were, in season planning and whatnot, and all of a sudden these riots start breaking out that essentially are about class conflict. The haves versus the have-nots, who is controlling the means of people's livelihoods, and really, people just frustrated with the state of the economy and having really no control over their lives. And I mean, we've started to see, thankfully, in more peaceful manners, the same kind of things here with the Occupy movement, and really, it's the same sort of anger that the Tea Party even was born out of. And what's appealing about a piece like this is it doesn't matter what your beliefs, your politics are. This runs it right down in the middle of the road and said, here are regular people who are being swept up in events that are beyond their control. There's a wonderful song in Act 2, Miss Jones, which is all about this factory having to fire its workers. And we're going to be doing a couple of very interesting things with that number. Traditionally, those that are fired just end up in the welfare line and things like that. However, in direct response to the unrest that we saw this past summer, we'll be staging a riot and saying, this is what these things can come to. Picketers protesting that on one little turn of the screw can turn to violence, and people are hurt, and property is destroyed, and chaos reigns, and the danger of that happening.
I think it's a lot different than anything I've done because there's a lot less dance and a lot more play. Probably the biggest challenge is not having a lot to go from. I've never seen the show. I knew nothing about it to start out with, so I had to do a lot of research on the show. There's not a lot out there about it, so It's a blessing and a curse to create something from scratch. We just went. You can't get up on the ground again. But it doesn't matter, the whole thing's just a game.
We often think of British in terms of, the stiff upper lip and that very London metropolitan sort of feel, forgetting that much like the United States, England's a big country with a lot of diverse populations and a lot of different people. And in this show, our audiences are going to be people from England that they haven't met before. This play takes primarily in Liverpool and Merseyside. So it's a very different sound that they're going to hear, a very different cultural identity. I mean, people who live in London have a very different frame of reference in life than people who live in Liverpool, which is primarily a fishing and manufacturing location, very dependent on the waterways and the seas and shipping and things like that. And London is a different world from there. So those sort of trying to overcome those stereotypes and those preconceived notions that people have of the English is going to be one of the challenges. But then also trying to keep the audience engaged for that entire time when the first image that they see walking into the theater once the show opens is the ending image of the show. And so, how to pace and to balance and choreograph all of that so that by the end of the show there's still something new and beautiful. And, I've often said this is not the best musical ever written, but I think without question it's the best last 5 minutes of a musical ever written. The final number is such a brilliant piece of theater because it ties up all the loose ends. It brings everyone together, and of course it's just a powerhouse of a song. And it is the reason why the show continues to run in London. I mean, it's currently in its 25th, or about to begin its 25th season of continuously running. So I mean, it's as much as it isn't well known here, it's a British institution. I mean, right up there with the likes of the Mousetrap and these other things. It's just become a cultural event to have gone to see Blood Brothers in London.